All right, today we're talking about pre-filter sponges. Some people are misunderstanding what the use of them is, or most people have dabbled into, yeah, I got a pre-filter sponge and it was horrible. And then admittedly, when you talk to them, well, I got it off Amazon. Yes, it's gonna be terrible off Amazon for the most part because they don't do it correctly. So, how did I start on the pre-filter sponge? And what is a pre-filter sponge? Well, here's one. This goes like at the beginning of your intake on a hang-on back filter or canister, like a large canister, a large hang-on back. Come in 3 sizes. How I got started with it, when I worked at another fish store, we used them. We only had like this little size, and it wasn't the right foam or anything like that, but it helped us quite a bit. And the ways that it helped us was it kept baby fish from getting sucked up into filters. The other thing we noticed it did was it kept plants and food from getting sucked up into the filter. So if you've got this filter on your intake and you feed some flake food or some pellets and eventually it gets close and it gets sucked up to it, on that outside layer, the fish can actually go and eat it. Instead of getting sucked up into the filter, now it sits there and rots as your filter processes it. So clearly it's better if a fish eats it. That's why you put it in the tank. So another little benefit right there. Another one is, the leaves not getting sucked up into the filter of your plants. Again, not killing stuff. That's good, right? And then another benefit to it is because they are so round, at least the medium and the large. The small one, not so much, but it still helps. You put some distance between the intake, which is my finger here, and the fish. So a big betta comes by or a big guppy with beautiful fins. They don't get sucked up and torn anymore. Instead, they've got a buffer. Now, you'll see people, oh, I tore up my betta's fins and all of that. I have not experienced that over the course of 20 years. I'm not saying it can't happen, but the benefits much outweigh the alternative of just getting sucked up straight into a filter. Now, why would we use this coarse foam? Right? You can almost, well, maybe not on camera, but I can see through it. I can actually see the camera through this foam. It's because you don't want to restrict the filter. So I don't have any. I used to have them, but real fine foam you can find on Amazon or maybe from Fluval. Fluval's got a real tiny one that is really fine. It will restrict. It'll get pinched in. It'll collect gunk like it's supposed to do. It sucks up. And you can actually cause some damage. So we want it coarse enough to protect, but not so fine that it restricts. You can do this with a aqua-clear sponge, those bright white sponges. They're more like that 30 to 32 ppi, so they're more fine, so you got to be more careful to not plug up your filters. And the other thing I see done, people try to get the smallest filter they can that'll fit on their thing. You're working against yourself. It's like having a garbage can in your house going, well, if I get a tiny garbage can, I won't have to see it. But meanwhile, you got to clean it every day. Oh, that little thing of garbage, got to go out, right? So I actually recommend the largest ones that you can tolerate. So I pretty much never use anything smaller than the medium. And most hang-on backs and canisters, I actually use a large. Every canister filter gets a large, and it's just because you've got more flow going through there, you're having higher bio loads, all of that. I want as much time as I can get. Now, I use this size on the 800 gallon with the FX6 and with a large Eheim. I'll use them on Fluval filters. I've used them on Cascade canisters. Every canister filter, I basically Aquatop, use like all of them. So by putting this on the intake, it's also, you gain all of this area, this surface area, as bacteria. You can grow lots of bacteria here, and so you can take a filter that might have been this big and add, this might be twice, or this might be as much biological was in there. You now have it on the outside. You're getting twice as much filtration for your filter for something that's $12, right? And you might go, well, I've spent $70 on that filter. Like, yeah, it's like you got 2 for only $12 more. Now, when you go to clean these bad boys, because they're going to collect a lot of junk for you. So they're biological. So biological means they're going to help process waste in the aquarium. So it's non-toxic or non-harmful. It's also going to do mechanical. It is going to collect that fish poop. It helps keep, another one benefit. I use it in, I actually use this one a lot in Ladybird's tank and Murphy's tank. Helps keep snail shells out of the filter, clam shells, and sand. There is one downfall to that. By keeping those from getting in, if you have Malaysian trumpet snails or clam shells and stuff, and you take this out and clean it, and you're at the sink and you're cleaning it, you can stab yourself with a snail shell. So, give it a look before you just go crazy on it. But when you are cleaning it, I like to use a fish bag or a big Ziploc bag. It's on the intake. You take that bag, you get it around it, seal off the top. So now you got water, a bunch of brown chocolate milk that kind of comes off of this. You pull it down, it's still locked in that bag. You lift it all the way out. Now I clean all of my intakes at the sink because I have so much other surface area in the canister filter, the hang-on back, or I've got another sponge filter running in the tank, that I use this mostly for physical pre-filtration on my filters. I can't sing enough praises about these. The other thing that I've learned over the years that wouldn't be apparent is you can buy extra of these, throw them in your tanks, just let them chill. You could have all these just sitting in a tank somewhere, in a sump, just a tank. Oh, I wouldn't necessarily do your quarantine tank, but a tank. And if you ever set up a new aquarium or a new filter, or you have a buddy that gets into the hobby, you can go, look at this. This is full of bacteria for you. Put that on the intake. It seeds a filter super quick, and you're good to go. The other thing I want to mention is that when you install one of these, you want to install it the least amount possible, not the most amount possible. What does that mean, Cory? What does that mean? That means if this is you're going to use this medium, and you've got your intake, you want, and this is the intake here, my fingers, you want it to be just enough to hold on to that. Cover up all the slits on the filter intake, just enough. You don't want to push it all the way down. If you push it all the way down, right, it's never going to come off of there, but it only uses this last 10% to filter because that's where it's sucking in from. And so all of this other sponge becomes useless. So you want the minimal amount, basically, to do the work for you. Same here. And so some people have done that mistakenly on canisters and stuff, and you're trying to ram everything through this last little 10%. That's going to clog. That's why these are so big, to give you that 1 to 3 month lifespan between cleanings. These are the ones that are tried and true that I've been using for 20 years. And if you watch the videos, go watch a video, you're going to be like, wow, they are on the 800 gallon. Wow, they are on Murphy's tank. Wow, they are being used. I just thought it's been a long time, and I've seen a lot of tanks now running them. And these are people trying to do shrimp and breed fish. And I'm like, wow, people have these problems. And then I just go, but how do they not use the thing that's designed to do this? And then most of the time, it's they don't know about it.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. To watch another one just like this, click here.